This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
Sounds like it's going to be a baking day for a lot of us because we were just talking about all the things we could make with pumpkin flavors, which I'm not huge on, but right now it's actually sounding good on this rainy, dreary day.
I have said this a million times. Pumpkin should not be a seasonal flavor. It should be year-round. I love pumpkin-flavored stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, firm opinion on that.
Kirsten baked apparently some pumpkin chocolate chip muffins, which I don't know why you didn't bring those in. I'm just joking. But yeah, no, that sounds so good. On a day like today, we were all discussing chili and soup. And on these dreary days, you kind of need something to warm you up from the inside, right? So what we're seeing right now, the widespread rainfall across our area, seeing a little bit of a gap in that rain for those of you anywhere from northern portions of Grayson County all the way to Adair County. But notice to the south, yep, here we go again, another wave of rain that will be moving right back in the metro, locked in with that moderate rainfall as of right now. 40s and low 50s to start off the day. Once we head into this afternoon, that is where your temperatures are going to stay as we keep those rounds of rain in the forecast. But here's the thing, we're going to feel more like the upper 30s and low 40s for afternoon temperatures. The reason that we have the wind chill coming our way, because of some wind gusts between 20 and 30 miles per hour. So be fully prepared for the wind, for the rain as we get into later on this afternoon. Rob?
Tawana, thanks so much. Still keeping our eyes on the roadways for you. It is a soggy start to your Wednesday. Good morning to you at 7:01. This is the scene still at 264 East near I-71, about a half hour to 45 minutes after reports of a two-car crash in that area. Back-to-back lights out there right now. One person confirmed hurt. Emergency responders are still out there, and it looks bad. It was even worse about 20 minutes ago, but that is almost still at a standstill if this is your route in the morning. Again, 264 East at near 71. Otherwise, things just kind of soggy throughout the metro. We're taking a look at 264 and Poplar level. Steer clear in that area. Not too bad out there. No crashes to report, just the rainy conditions. The big picture, things not looking too bad. Still keeping an eye on cleanup at 65 South near Fern Valley Road after a two-car accident about a half hour ago as well. We'll keep you posted throughout the morning. Back over to you.
Thank you. Breaking on Sunrise, a woman's dead after a shooting in Simpsonville overnight. Simpsonville police say it happened on Buck Creek Road around 12:45 last night. Shelby County EMS got to the scene and they found a woman who had been shot and killed. Her name has not been released. Investigators say they're looking for what led up to the shooting, so if you know anything, call Simpsonville Police.
Hurricane Melissa is now battering Cuba after it left behind a path of devastation in Jamaica. More than 700,000 people were evacuated from Cuba before it made landfall as a Category 3 storm there this morning. The storm is expected to generate a storm surge of up to 12 feet in Cuba. In Jamaica, more than 500,000 customers are without power. The hurricane made landfall on that island as a Category 5 storm. The storm also damaged 4 hospitals and left 1 without power. Jamaican emergency managers are also reporting widespread flooding in some areas. Melissa is forecast across Cuba through the morning and move into the Bahamas later today. The government said it hopes to reopen all of Jamaica's airports as early as Thursday.
Residents there spent days getting ready for this storm, which has also left people there on vacation stranded, including a couple from Louisville. We have news reporter Kirsten Foote joining us live with more.
Yeah, Shannon, the couple, Joni Ison and Courtney Allen, they planned the trip to Jamaica to celebrate Courtney's 35th birthday. When Wave News spoke to them on Tuesday, they'd been on lockdown inside the Montego Bay Resort for more than 24 hours. By 3 in the afternoon Tuesday, the storm had made landfall, and this was a view outside their window. While the couple told Wave they were scared for the storm, they said they are more worried for the people who call Jamaica home in the long road to recovery expected after Hurricane Melissa. Joni describes Jamaica as her second home, and she was excited to show her partner Courtney what the island has to offer.
And to just know that these people are going to literally see something that they have never seen in their life, it's way more concerning than I could ever be for myself. And the privilege that I'm getting to experience, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. I can't even imagine even trying to leave here and go to the airport and everything I'm going to see.
According to the National Hurricane Center, maximum sustained winds from Hurricane Melissa topped out near 185 miles per hour. Now, the couple was supposed to fly back to Louisville today. However, they say the resort let them a note saying they most likely won't be able to leave the island for a while. Kirsten Foote, Wave News.
Kirsten, thank you. This morning, a man is in Metro Corrections charged with killing a 1-year-old girl in Louisville. LMPD says a grand jury indicted 24-year-old Gregory Ford on murder. Police say they were called to Haskin Avenue last August after learning learning the child was unconscious and not breathing. The county coroner says 1-year-old Avani McAfee Wooten died from blunt force trauma injuries. LMPD also tells us Ford faces strangulation and fourth-degree assault charges against a different victim. Ford is expected to be before a judge again next Monday.
We now know the name of the LMPD officer who shot and killed a man accused of shooting his friend's mother. Officer Hunter Weaver shot and killed 20-year-old Frank Mejia Aguilar. Weaver's been on the force since 2023. LMPD says Aguilar was holding a gun when police responded to a woman who was shot on Ridgecrest Road early Monday morning. Police say Aguilar refused to drop the gun and Weaver shot him. The woman who was shot, 45-year-old Tiffany Rainier, died. Family members say she was throwing a birthday party for her 20-year-old son when she was shot in the head. Her son says his mom and one of his friends got into an argument that led to the shooting. LMPD policy states the body camera video from this scene will be released soon.
The U.S. Senate is scheduled to vote again at 11:30 this morning on ending the government shutdown. Vice President J.D. Vance says he believes U.S. military members will continue to be paid as the government shutdown continues. More than 1.3 million active duty service members are at risk of missing a paycheck on Friday. Earlier this month, the Trump administration ensured they were paid by shifting $8 billion from military research and development funds to make payroll. Vice President Vance didn't say if that would be enough to pay troops, though. The U.S. Senate failed to pass a government funding bill for the 13th time on Tuesday. The vote fell mostly along party lines, failing to reach that 60-vote threshold. 3 Democrats voted yes, while 2 Republicans voted no. At the center of the shutdown, though, is the debate over health care costs.
Democrats say premiums are set to jump if Affordable Care Act tax credits expire at the start of the new year. ACA programs cover a range of people from small business owners to older Americans. Governor Andy Beshear and Democratic Congressman Morgan McGarvey say they asked the White House and House Republicans for an extension more than a month ago. Governor Beshear says about 100,000 Kentuckians could see massive increases. One woman we spoke to talked about the impact it's had on her.
It's really stressful. I'm losing sleep over it. I think all day about what we're going to do if we lose health insurance. When people like me have to drop my coverage, when people who are healthier than me drop their coverage, that's just going to increase costs for everyone.
Republican lawmakers have argued a short-term spending bill should be passed to open the government. They say a debate over health care costs can be had after the government's reopened. Hats, gloves, scarves, all things we need for the winter weather, but for some they can help make a tougher time more bearable.
One Louisville healthcare professional is making sure cancer patients have those items in place while they battle a disease of their own that knows no seasons. Rob Wells is back with details. Rob.
Hi, Olivia. The idea is to collect as many new sets of hats, scarves, and gloves as possible to donate to patients going through cancer treatment at the Baptist Health Heart and Cancer Center. They'll be presented soon as a way to show support while they navigate a journey that can be as unpredictable as the winter weather. Mary DeVincentis says that she got the idea as her own mother, Teresa Haynes, was going through chemotherapy treatments. She said her mom went out of her way to always help others who are also battling the same diagnosis and to help keep their spirits up. Mary's mom died in December 2024. Now donating the winter goods is a simple way to honor her and help with those in need.
My goal was 100, and by the time the community and everybody had understood about what was going on, we have over 200 sets of hat, gloves, and scarves that are brand new that will be donated to the Cancer Center. So this winter, everybody will be able to stay warm because it's going to be cold this year. And of course, you know, where they don't have any hair to keep them warm, we got them some really nice thick plush hats and gloves.
Mary herself is a nurse at Baptist Health and has seen not only her own mother, but so many others go through the cancer treatment journey. A Facebook page called Teresa's Touch has been set up to provide additional information along with Mary's contact. We'll have a link to that for you later on wave3.com. By the way, the items collected will be delivered November 3rd to the Cancer Center in Elizabethtown. Olivia.
Thank you, Rob. Baptist Health officials have broken ground on a new ER and urgent care facility in southern Indiana. The new Sellersburg facility will bring both services under one roof to help serve people even more. This side next to the Ivy Tech campus will also have an outpatient radiology suite on the first floor and primary care practice on its second floor. It's set to open in late 2026.
Coming up, Halloween is this Friday, and we're going to take you to one of the most haunted places in Wave Country.
Wave News reporter Marissa Burke is brave this morning. She's telling us how you can get quite the scare at Waverly Hills after the break.
Well, Halloween is Friday. There's a lot of spooky Louisville history, and you can go to a spot where you can learn a little bit about the history and check out a haunted house too.
Yeah, 2 in 1. I think a lot of people know what we're talking about here with the spooky spot. That's Waverly Hills, where they have that haunted house. And Friday and Saturday, your last chance to do that. And Wave News reporter Marissa Burke got a tour of the haunted house. Take a look.
Now we're on the 5th floor, and like we told you earlier, that each floor has its own story. And I have Nicole here. She does the tours. And Nicole, tell us a little bit about the story behind the room we're in.
So right here was more like a common area. Over on one side, we had a 14-bed children's unit. Unfortunately, Waverly did have kids. They did get sick. And then on the other side, we had a 14-bed adult unit, which was the sickest of the sick. And you're probably wondering, why would they put kids up on a floor with adults? It's because they kind of had the same mindset because they were so terminally ill.
Oh, wow. And again, this is just one of the many floors with a story, but something to see when you come out and experience Waverly. I say see, but it's truly an experience.
Yes. So if this weekend, the purchase of an RIP ticket, the 5th floor is the last floor that you go on before you go down into the haunted house.
Oh, so we are in where a lot of people, so that means that make sure you prepare yourself is the best way that I can put it for people this morning. And let's just give them a little taste. So when we talk about the haunted house and everything Waverly has to offer, how would you describe it? Because you've been here, you've done that.
Yeah, I've been here for a little while, a few years, several years. It's, I want to say, captivating in a way, in a sense. I love a good skeptic, just simply because they're, oh, Waverly's not real, it's this, it's that. But once you start to experience things, it's like, that's unexplainable.
Right.
So, yep.
We're going to just send it back to you guys. We're just going to send it back to you.
A creepy spot there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I've been there, had some creepy experiences myself, but I love that kind of stuff. The classic haunted house where people pop out and scare you. Yeah, that's going to scare you.
Yeah.
I want the unexplained stuff.
The unexplained stuff. All right. Well, we're all keeping our fingers crossed still for good trick-or-treating weather.
Mm-hmm. And it still looks like we're going to get it. So we are very, very happy. All the other stuff we will be quickly leaving behind as we head into the next couple of days. This shot in Bardstown right right now on our SkyTrack camera. Kind of looks like abstract art, the way the light is coming through some of those raindrops. But at least we are watching some more of that rain coming down across the region. Notice it is pretty widespread across our area. We're seeing that rain locked in, light to moderate rainfall in most of southern Indiana. In the metro, it's mainly that light to moderate rain as well. For those of you further to the south, we're seeing some of these showers still showing up along the north of the parkways, but further to the south, there is that little band of drier weather from the northern portions of Grayson County into Adair County, but just to the south of that, even some heavier rainfall trying to push to the north. This is all because of that area of low pressure that is to our west. We're going to continue to watch the rain just rotating around it as the day goes along. Our temperatures right now are in the 40s and the low 50s. As we head into the afternoon, we're going to keep those temperatures right there, but we're going to feel more like the upper 30s and low 40s for the afternoon. And the reason for that change will be the increase in the wind later on today, with some of those gusts between 20 and 30 miles per hour. Once we head into the afternoon, those rounds of rain will continue. That rain may be heavy at times, indicated by the yellows and oranges on our futurecast. Once we get into the evening hours, much of the same thing for the overnight and into early tomorrow. Now, in terms of what we're looking at for your Thursday, we're going to keep the rounds of rain at least for the first half of the day, with that low still nearby. Eventually, through the late morning into the afternoon, we'll watch the rain gradually exiting our region from west to east, and we will see those clouds clearing by the time you roll into your Thursday night. So for those totals, we're talking about 1 to 2 inches of widespread rain in our forecast for today. Once we get into Halloween, things still looking pretty good then, with highs in the 50s, a mix of sun and clouds across the area. We'll keep that mix of sun and clouds for trick-or-treating time for Friday evening, but temperatures will be in the upper 40s and the low 50s. As we look ahead to the weekend, keeping things quiet, just with some extra clouds overhead. Don't forget, we do fall back on Sunday morning, so daylight saving time ends then. So just keep that in mind. Don't forget to readjust those clocks. Getting into next week, a little bit warmer, some sunshine showing up from Monday through Friday, with highs in the upper 50s and the low 60s. Now, one big thing that we'll have to keep an eye on will be a couple of systems trying to push our way for next week. As of right now, they look to stay just outside of wave country. But of course, if that changes, then our rain chances and temperatures for next week will change. But as of right now, just keeping things quiet and dry for that. Shannon.
Thank you. JCPS's superintendent says while the district has a positive trend to cutting chronic student absences, there is still room to improve. JCPS says chronic absenteeism within the district is now at 33%, and that is a 5% drop over the last 2 years. In Kentucky, a student's considered chronically absent if they miss 10% or more of their school year. To tackle this, JCPS says they're focusing on communication with parents. They've sent 4.5 million texts, plus needed support and accountability from guardians.
So if anybody's listening to this and think this is a JCPS problem, it is not. It is a problem of adults who are not doing what they should do to make sure that these young children get to school, especially in grades K through 5.
Superintendent Dr. Yearwood says intervention measures are explored before a criminal case is brought against parents who don't send their kids to school. Right now, JCPS says it has active criminal cases against 32 guardians. The average number of unexcused absences in these cases is 47. Teachers at New Albany Floyd County Schools could soon be getting raises. The school board proposed the raise for the 2025-27 contract. In the first phase, teachers will get a $1,650 raise with a starting salary of $51,850 with a top salary of $86,950. Then in the 2026-27 school year, teachers will get a $1,350 raise. The New Albany Education Association will vote on the agreement at a special meeting on Monday.
Just ahead, kids getting their costumes ready for Halloween this Friday and a big trick-or-treating spot, also preparing for the big holiday. We have new trick-or-treating guidelines at Hillcrest this year. We'll tell you about them coming up. Well, we're just a couple days away from Halloween, which means it's time to get those costumes ready and the kids ready to grab all that candy.
Oh, I bet they're excited about that. So one of Louisville's biggest trick-or-treating spots is Hillcrest. They are getting ready. Halloween on Hillcrest is happening this Friday. They have set hours this year, 5 to 9. Plus, they're shutting off Hillcrest to cars, so you can park on one of the side streets and then you can walk in, enter at Brownsboro Road or Frankfort Avenue, and you're going to get a ticket to the area too. Also, no public restrooms on Hillcrest. It is a neighborhood if you're heading there. Amazing decorations. They give out so much candy, but no place to use the restroom. We have a list of how other neighborhoods across our area plan to celebrate and the times for those. You can find those at wave3.com.
Talking about kids and their costumes, how about some babies in Halloween costumes? The staff at U of L Health keeping their Halloween tradition going by dressing up the NICU babies in Halloween costumes. Nursing staff raises money each year to buy costumes so babies can celebrate their first Halloween, even though they're still in the hospital, and they are just so adorable. Well, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas now that this year's 30 Rock Christmas tree has been found. The 75-foot Norway spruce has been selected as the 2025 Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. It's being donated by the Russ family of East Greenbush, New York. The tree is expected to arrive at 30 Rock on November 8th before the lighting ceremony on December 3rd. That's really right around the corner.
That is the perfect shaped tree. It is like, it's so symmetrical. I mean,
I love how fascinated you are by this tree. You're
with
like
a tree
blown away by it.
with a tree that size, it's hard to find symmetry, which is important in a Christmas tree.
I'm sure they do a good job of landscaping that tree too. We'll be right back.
This Wave News update is sponsored by Oxmoor Auto Group.
Good morning. I'm Shannon Kogan. A woman is dead after a shooting in Simpsonville overnight. Simpsonville police say it happened at an apartment complex on Buck Creek Road about 12:45 last night. Shelby County EMS got to the scene. They found a woman who was shot and killed. Her name has not been released. Investigators say they're looking for what led to that shooting. If you know anything, call Simpsonville police. Get ready for what's going to be a very wet Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, we're continuing to keep an eye on that rain just rotating through. We have, of course, that low that is off towards our west that's just throwing these showers at us. Notice we are locked in with the rainfall for those of you in Indiana, in the Louisville metro, and for most of our Kentucky counties. I say most because portions of Breckinridge County, south through Hardin County, all the way to Adair County, getting a little bit more of a break from that steady rainfall, but another wave of rain is already pushing to the north, right back into our region. That low off towards our west is going to stay with us for today into tomorrow. For your temperatures, we're right now in the 40s and the low 50s. As we head throughout the day, that is where we're going to stay. Feeling more like the upper 30s at times, though, for later on this afternoon, all because of those wind gusts between 20 and 30 miles per hour. And keep in mind, the rain chance will remain high all day long. We'll finally start to dry out by Thursday afternoon. Rob.
Okay, Tawana, thanks so much. I'm trying to stay positive as you head on the roadways this morning. This is a look at 264 East near I-71. Looks like a mess right now, but it was much worse about 30 minutes ago after reports of a two-car crash out there when everything was at an absolute standstill. At this point, we do have some traffic moving along. Still a lot of emergency responders out there, at least one person hurt in this incident, but it is finally flowing at 264 East near 71. Also, another big picture out there this morning, 264 at Poplar level, still looking good on your Wednesday.
Good Wednesday morning to you. Thanks for joining us here for Sunrise Extra. We made it halfway through the week. We've already seen a lot of stuff happen this week so far, and we'll have some highlights from U of L basketball's last exhibition game of the season. Plus, we have some updates from the Israel-Hamas war and some latest strikes there in Gaza. But first, a Kentucky man charged in the stabbing death of a 6-year-old is now coming back to the state after he was arrested in Florida. Ronald Exantis was charged in the stabbing and killing of Logan Tipton in 2015. While he was found not guilty of the child's murder by reason of insanity, Exantis was convicted on assault of the attack on other family members who were stabbed. Exantis was released from prison earlier this month. He was rearrested in Florida during what was supposed to be a supervised release because he failed to register as a felon. In a press conference yesterday, Marion County, Florida's Sheriff Billy Woods had some strong words about the ordeal.
an individual that has already killed a 6-year-old, stabbed his sister, and stabbed it. It hadn't been for his father, probably went even further. Next to one of my schools. Will not tolerate it. And as far as I'm at Kentucky, if you're listening, keep their in your state. Do not allow them to come to Florida. Definitely do not allow them to come to Marion County. We will hunt you down and ensure you're put right back where you should be.
Kentucky's Department of Corrections says Exantis has a choice between his right to a hearing and to waive that right. The parole board will determine if his release will be revoked or not. If it's revoked, he will stay in custody at a Kentucky state prison. The family of a shooting victim continues to wait for answers more than a year later. Demetrius Johnson is accused of the 2024 shooting death of Jordan Wells near Eastern Parkway and Bradley Avenue. Yesterday, more evidence was turned over to the prosecution, and a date was set for another pretrial hearing. We spoke to the family of Wells, who tells us they're now playing the waiting game.
It's gut-wrenching. I just look at him and stare and think, how could you do that? How could you do that to my son? He did nothing to you. He didn't say anything to you. He didn't do anything. Why did you do this to him? And it just rips my heart out. Every day I have to wake up in the morning and I don't get to talk to Jordan today. I don't get to see Jordan. And he has a 14-year-old brother who misses him dearly.
Johnson's trial is set to begin in July. His next court appearance is scheduled for December. The Beechard Terrace redevelopment has been a project nearly a decade in the making. The more than $200 million project is aimed at revitalizing the neighborhood. And you heard the big cheer there. It's now, after that first swish of the basket, the Baxter Community Center is officially open. Officials say the center is a safe space for kids in the community for after-school programs and activities. The Beechard Terrace redevelopment began back in 2016 with a $29 million grant from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. The redevelopment now has 620 new rental units for seniors, families, and individuals. One goal for officials is to have residents, both returning and new, in the redevelopment. Charles Tandy grew up in the former Beechard Terrace, and he's back now as an employee.
It was amazing seeing this because I used to play all the time here as a little kid. Just running through here, just in the game room, playing basketball all day on the basketball court. It's great seeing it back the way it is.
Outdoor improvements have also been made to the community center, including a new playground, new basketball court, and more parking. A group of neighbors who live steps away from a southern Indiana gun range worry that what people fire on site makes them unsafe. Scott County homeowners tell us no one is there to supervise what goes on at the Clark State Forest gun range. Wave News reporter Julia Richardson spent the afternoon talking to neighbors who share what they think the solutions could be.
People are getting careless on where their bullets are going. And eventually it's going to lead to somebody getting hurt or possibly killed if this ain't managed.
The Clark State Forest gun range in Scott County is where many people go for target practice. But it's also surrounded by several horse riding trails and houses. Neighbors I talked with wanted to stay anonymous, but tell me they're used to finding stray bullets on their properties or in areas outside of the gun range. They say there isn't a manager on the gun range's property to regulate activity.
All the forestry signs are shot up. The county road signs are shot up. The county has to replace the stop sign, it seems like, every 6 months.
One neighbor says she was hosting a birthday party when someone fired several shots in the direction of almost 3 dozen children. Now she's careful about where her own 3 children go on her property.
If it is an active weekend, we try to keep them down at the barn or just keep them off of the backside of the house there.
Another concern, shots being fired into a creek that flows into Stucker Fork water.
That's how we get our water. You know, and it's got lead in it, and it's probably got everything else you can imagine in it, from bullets or whatever else that goes in there from uprange.
Plans were in motion to move the gun range away from residents' properties using federal funds through the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. The gun range was shut down when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and neighbors were told it wouldn't be reopened until it was moved. Now they want to follow through on that promise.
We built here because we knew it was being moved and it was a great location for the business, and it was all getting taken care of.
I'm also told neighbors have made calls to several agencies like the Scott County Sheriff's Office, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the Indiana Department of Natural Resources. But they've been told what it comes down to is a lack of resources.
The lady that runs this place knows, and she's told me, yeah, there's lead in there. We just can't get anybody to do anything about it. So, I mean, they know, EPA knows, DNR knows. It's just that nobody's got money, so nobody's going to deal with it.
And we've called the Scott County Dispatch number and asked how many times they've been called to the gun range in the last 6 months. They're working on getting those numbers for us. We also reached out to the Indiana Department of Natural Resources, and a spokesperson is looking into the request. As soon as we have more information, we'll keep you updated both on air and online at wave3.com. Metro government will have another public meeting on data centers today. The city leaders say neighbors can weigh in on how centers should be regulated within the city. It's part of a plan to research regulations and update the zoning code. Metro's Planning and Zoning Committee passed a moratorium on issuing new permits for data centers last week. There will be another meeting tonight at 5:30, and for more coming up next week, you can find those remaining dates over on wave3.com. A new spot for kids to play is now open in Prospect. Norton Commons unveiled the Grove Park. You can find it near the Grove Pool. Community leaders say kids can climb and explore while the adults relax on the shaded porch. Some of the features include a play theater, a slide, and plenty of swings. Looks like fun. Simmons College of Kentucky celebrates its 3 newest graduates. Each student has earned an Associates of Arts degree in General Studies. Officials highlighted they not only completed their degrees, but they did so with honors. These graduates earned their degrees through the Second Chance Health Program, which offers educational opportunities inside correctional facilities.
A little bit of my story, I spent a long time in prison. I've been locked up almost 18 years. And everything I tried, every door I tried to open was basically locked. I made a prayer that, God just showed me the path and I'm going to follow it. And after that day, every door that I knocked on was unlocked.
Each graduate now has the opportunity to pursue a bachelor's degree in sociology or business entrepreneurship. Good luck to them. We're cheering for them. We'll be right back with more Sunrise Extra in 2 minutes. New reports from the Middle East say Gaza has seen its deadliest day since the Israel-Hamas ceasefire came into effect less than 3 weeks ago. That's as the Israeli military unleashed a wave of airstrikes across the region. The strikes have left at least 91 people dead, including dozens of children, according to hospital officials. CNN's Jeremy Diamond is in Jerusalem with more.
The Israeli military launched a wave of airstrikes across Gaza on Tuesday night after the Israeli prime minister ordered, quote, immediate powerful strikes after accusing Hamas of being in, quote, clear violation of the ceasefire agreement. We're already getting reports of people who are killed and injured as a result of these strikes inside of Gaza. But in terms of what the specific violations are that the Israeli government is accusing Hamas of, there are several that the Israeli government has pointed to in the last 24 hours or so. The first of which pertains to the kind of slow pace of the release of the remains of deceased hostages held in Gaza. These frustrations have been boiling over for weeks now. And on Monday, we saw Hamas return what they said was the remains of a deceased Israeli hostage. But upon DNA verification by the Israeli side, the Israeli government said that this was not one of the remains of the 13 deceased Israeli hostages still unaccounted for inside of Gaza. Instead, they said that this was another piece of the remains of a deceased hostage whose body was recovered in Gaza in late 2023 by Israeli forces. In addition to that, the Israeli military also released this new drone video, which appears to show Hamas staging the recovery of the body of a deceased hostage inside of Gaza. You can see as this white shroud is brought to the middle of this dug up area. It's then covered up with dirt once again by several masked Hamas militants. The body is then uncovered as if for the first time. And this actually happens twice in the course of this drone video that the Israeli military released, where you can even see Red Cross officials, 3 of them, watching the second seeming recovery of this body unfold. Now, the Israeli military says that this is evidence of what they've been accusing Hamas of for weeks now, pretending to search for the bodies of Israeli hostages, while in fact having some of those remains already in their possession. The Red Cross, for its part, saying it is, quote, unacceptable that a fake recovery was staged, and calling on all parties to abide by this ceasefire agreement. But there is another alleged Hamas violation that Israeli officials are also pointing to as Israel carried out these strikes in Gaza, and that is an exchange of fire that took place on Tuesday between Israeli forces and Hamas militants in southern Gaza in the area of the city of Rafah. An Israeli military official telling me that Hamas militants opened fire on Israeli troops using an RPG as well as sniper fire. And Hamas, for its part, says that they were not responsible for this. It's not the first time that we've seen them distance themselves from the actions of Palestinian militants in the southern part of Gaza. It is also not the first time that we've seen Israel carry out strikes in response for all of that. Last time that happened, about a week and a half into this ceasefire, Israel carried out a wave of strikes. It was a very fragile moment for this ceasefire, but it didn't collapse altogether. Israel has informed the United States that it was preparing to carry out these strikes. And now the question, of course, is how limited will these strikes be and whether or not it will lead to a collapse of the ceasefire altogether. Jeremy Diamond, CNN, Jerusalem.
And we will certainly stay on top of the latest there from Israel and Hamas. Amazon says it's laying off 14,000 corporate workers in order to stay nimble as the company looks at the growth of AI. In a statement, Amazon's top HR executive says, quote, AI is the most transformative technology we've seen since the internet. The company needs to be organized more leanly with fewer layers to move more quickly for their customers. According to Amazon's latest filings, the company employs 1.5 million people, with about 350,000 workers in corporate roles. The company says it will assist impacted employees as those layoffs are carried out. Texas's attorney general has filed a lawsuit against the makers of Tylenol. The lawsuit claims the companies Johnson & Johnson and Kenvue deceptively marketed Tylenol to pregnant mothers, and the medication is tied to an increased risk of autism. The lawsuit comes about a month after President Donald Trump publicly claimed the use of Tylenol during pregnancy can be associated with an increased risk of autism, despite decades of evidence that the medication is safe. Now, the lawsuit asks for a jury trial and calls for the companies to pay civil penalties to the state in the amount of $10,000 per violation. Kenvue responded in a statement saying Tylenol is safe and the company will vigorously defend against the claims. Governor Andy Beshear joined leaders from 24 other states and the District of Columbia in challenging the Trump administration over its decision to suspend Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. The potential loss of federal food assistance has parents worried about how they might feed their children. SNAP benefits help hundreds of thousands of Kentuckians put food on the table. Wave News reporter David Mattingly talked to families feeling squeezed by the government shutdown.
So we want everybody to come inside and line up where I am standing.
Another full house at the Salvation Army's weekly food distribution. Demand for free food here has jumped more than 300% in recent weeks, and so has the stress.
Like babies, they get fed at school, but they come home, they rely on meals to fill their bellies at home. So it's stressful. I've already thought about what I'm going to do come November.
Promise English is a mother of 3. Food assistance from SNAP benefits helped keep her family fed, but that assistance could disappear in a matter of days.
It's going to be a struggle for sure, but I think between food banks and family, we should be able to make it through for sure, and our babies should have full bellies.
Others aren't so sure. Erica Starks is a single mother of 4 boys with a baby on the way. 2 weeks ago, she lost her job. In 3 days, she could lose her SNAP benefits.
I'm not government shut it down. It's over with, like for a minute for me. But
You sound like there's a lot of pressure on you right now. Food banks are also feeling the pressure. According to Dare to Care, SNAP benefits account for $16 million worth of food purchased each month just in Jefferson County.
But, we can't fill that gap. That's going to be something in terms that we have to rely on our community to step up.
bread, vegetables, mostly that.
How long is this going to last you?
3 days, 4 maybe.
Erica Stark says her only hope is going to food banks. This is her second stop at a food bank today as she tries to stock up for what might be ahead.
That's all I have. I don't have nobody else, just me. So, yeah.
Are you going to be okay?
Yeah, don't make me cry, because I'm going to be okay. I'm going to figure it out. I promise you. I always do.
Earlier this week, Dare to Care Food Bank surveyed its 400 partners and discovered a 45% jump in demand already attributed to the government shutdown. We'll be right back with some of our top headlines in sports. Well, I know it's fall right now, but soon enough, it'll be winter. And today actually marks 100 days until the start of the Winter Olympics that will be co-hosted by Milan and the alpine town of Cortina d'Ampezzo. The Olympics will run from February 6th through the 22nd in 2026. The Paralympics will follow in March. It's the first time the Winter Games have been held in Europe since Italy staged them in Turin in 2006. Milan and Cortina are more than 250 miles apart, and 5 other locations will stage events, including Bormio. The Olympic flame will be lit in ancient Olympia, Greece on November 26th. The flame will arrive in Rome on December 4th and will begin its journey across Italy 2 days later. The 2026 games will be held across northern Italy, and you can watch the games on NBC. So excited to see that, and it looks beautiful there, that's for sure. U of L men's basketball was back in action last night in their second exhibition game, their last tune-up before the start of the season on Monday. Coming off the Kansas loss last week, the 11th-ranked Cards took on Bucknell, honoring the late, great Jim Valvano. The game was back and forth most of the game until the Cards took a 21-3 run into the half, taking a 17-point lead into the break. The Cards never looked back in the second half, winning the game by a score of 99-76. Freshman Mikael Brown Jr. led the way with 28 points. Such an impressive performance by the highly rated freshman. The Cards start their regular season on Monday. They're taking on South Carolina State at the KFC Yum Center at 9 o'clock, a late game, but I'm sure a lot of people will be staying up late for that one. We're wrapping up fall sports in high school, and yesterday kicked off the semifinals for the boys state soccer tournament. Local powerhouse St. X faced off against Lexington's Bryan Station after defeating Bowling Green over the weekend. In the first half, Bryan Station's goalie misjudges the pass, watches it bounce over his head, and the St. X player just taps it in, making it 1-0 Tigers. They never took their foot off the pedal, finding 2 more goals, winning it by a score of 3-0. Now, you may be thinking, who will St. X be playing in the state final? And we have that answer. It was determined earlier in the day in the game between Covington Catholic and South Oldham. This game was a nail-biter all the way down to the stretch, with the game still tied after regulation. They had to take it into penalty kicks. And on the last kick for South Oldham, the ball flies over the goal, making Covington Catholic your winner. Such a heartbreaker there, but still a great season by South Oldham and all of our local soccer teams. That's all the time we have here for Wave Sunrise Extra. I hope you have a great Wednesday.